Good morning. Good. What's up, guys? We are trying to figure out this YouTube thing here. So, you ever wonder why you were put on this earth? You ever wonder what is my purpose on this earth? What is it that God has called me to do on this earth itself? If that is something that you've questioned or you've never really pursued, in this video, we're going to discuss why the pursuit of your purpose will unlock your personal greatness. What is it that makes you great? What is it, those things that cause you to have this undying pursuit for what is it that God has placed you on this earth to do? So let's see how to do this right with the live. Let's see if I can get to the chats and whatnot in here too as well. So playing around with a little bit of the YouTube stuff still, getting to learn it. So once again, you can watch me get really good at this. Right now, I'm not good at it yet. I'm okay with it, but I'm good at coaching and teaching and whatnot. So let's get into it, guys. You probably heard this term before, a quote by Mark Twain, who says, "The two most important days of your life, most important days of your life is number one, when you're born. Obviously, you can't do nothing unless you're here first. And number two is when you figure out why, when you determine why you're put on this earth. What is it that you're called to do that is and that's going to honor him and going to honor and love God and serve the people that you're called to serve. This is the most important thing. Who is it that you're called to serve? In what manner? How are you going to do that? How are you going to reach and be disciples or creating disciples? How are you going to be? What is it that you're called to do? There's usually one to maybe three different things. And the crazy thing about purpose is that it's not like you're not in this one silo that this is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. You may be doing it in seasons. Purpose is seasonal. You may have a season of a few months or a few years where you're going to operate out of a certain way, a certain delivery method. You may do something live and in person, then you may do something online. You may start preaching in a pulpit, and at some point in time, you may be at conferences. You may be writing books. You may be called to do certain ways to get that message out that God has called you to do it in a manner that helps develop other people. It serves other people in a high way. And so we need to know and understand what those particular things are because confronting the fact that you need to know your purpose. And here's the thing, 72% of men report that they either don't know their purpose or they're not in pursuit of it. To me, that's a lot of waste. That's a lot of waste. You're like aimlessly walking through life without understanding what it is you're really supposed to be doing. So what I find is that we tend to fall in line with the life by default versus a life by design. Meaning, this is what my parents say I should do. This is what my teachers say I should do. This is what society say I should do. And it seems like it's the right thing to do. So let me just pursue that. But we may be ignoring some rocks along the way, some different pillars that happen in your life, some landmarks that happen that really showed you who you really are in the way, in the manner that you're really supposed to serve at a high level. And you could be missing that. Okay. You could be climbing the corporate ladder, but the ladder's on the wrong building. You could be pursuing this way of ministry, and he's calling you because and gifting you in a different way. So are you paying attention to those particular things, those guideposts? And we're going to talk about those guideposts in here as we go, because if 72% of men are not, like, don't even know their purpose and not pursuing it, that's a lot of folks that are just going through life, just moving through the motions of life instead of going towards something that is meaningful, impactful, not just for themselves. It's for yourself, but it's also for the people that you call to serve at a high level. You could be doing some things that are good, but it's not the greatness that God has called you to do. You could be doing some okay things, some mediocre things, but mastery is where it's calling you in that particular area. The story of the talents. When he gave one guy one, he gave another five, another one two. It's a matter of what is it that you're going to do to exponentially grow those particular talents. Now, this was talking about money, multiplying money. The kingdom of God is not about incremental change. It's about exponential change. Okay. It's be fruitful and multiply. And so Jim's here. Yes. Reaction versus being proactive. Yes, sir. A lot of us are just reacting to what society says, what the news says, what are the trends. Those things are okay to pay attention to, but there's something that's something about a man who's being steadfast toward pursuing his purpose. being steadfast. Steadfastness is biblical. It's something that, am I going to stay the course? Am I going to pursue the course? Not just stay on it, but I got to also know where to pivot, but I also need to know these guardrails. I got to put these guardrails up, because the greater you move towards any success in your area, the more you become attractive to opportunity. The more other people are going to say, man, that guy's really doing something. That Jim, that Bob, that Mark, he's really doing something. Maybe he should do something with me. Maybe I should invite him in. Now, the thing is, people are going to sometimes, unfortunately, have their own selfish ambition towards your goals and your success. I want some of that for myself. Now, some people will actually look and coach and mentor you in those particular areas to help you elevate and grow to your destiny. But a lot of times folks will look, just kind of say, hey, let's pull you over here. And those things might be good ideas, but are they really God ideas? Are they really things that you're supposed to be doing? So some of us have to get these blinders on and say, I'm going to stay focused on this pursuit. This is where I'm supposed to be. Some things may be close to it, but it may not be where I need to focus my energy, my effort, my time, all those things into it, because it's a distraction from the pursuit of the real purpose. So those are the things we have to be really be inclined to filter through. So as we get into this, two of the biggest things that will be your guidepost is, number one, your vision. Your two things, your vision and your core values, are going to be the guideposts. So clarity of vision, what I'm going to talk about in a second here, is going to be one of the things you need to pay attention to. But also, what are my core values? Who am I? What's my identity? What are the things that I hold as in high esteem towards in pursuit of the goals that I'm going for? These are the things I'm going to allow to push me in the right direction. So when you're in pursuit of that purpose itself, it's, quest for meaning. Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl's book is extremely important when it talks about searching for the meaning, that mission that you're called on. When you pursue it with that passion itself, you were talking about even being fulfilled. Fulfillment is one of the things that a lot of guys really struggle with, saying, I'm not fulfilled in my life. I'm not fulfilled in my job. I'm not fulfilled in my key relationships. And because there's probably some disconnect. There's some lack of integrity that lines up with what they're really called to do. And they may be just doing the things, as I always talk about, the golden handcuffs, meaning I'm getting paid well. I'm doing something that's good, that's paying and providing for my family. But is it something that is filling my cup? And am I utilizing my gifts to the fullest to serve? And so you have a lack of fulfillment that comes along with that too as well. So just that power and passion and unyielding drive that's going to take place when you do your thing. Like, I can't not do this. I can't not have conversations with men and leaders and help them pursue their passions and unravel certain things. When they tell me certain things, I just can't help but to do this, because this is what I'm called to do. I'm fully firm in that. So in that, it makes me know that I can move forward into those things. But are you willing to suffer righteously? Are you willing to go through the pains and the turmoil that may come from doing that thing? You have more willingness to push through the hard stuff if you know this is your lane. If you know this is the thing that you're called to do, because if it really matters and if it's meaningful, you're going to be willing to endure the hardship, do the hard things necessary for you to realize those particular goals itself. And so I'm going to give you 5 points here that really break down why it matters to pursue your purpose. So number one is it's going to give you direction and clarity. As I talked earlier about vision itself, direction and clarity. So life is hard. You're going to go through tests, trials, traumas, tribulations. All those things are going to happen. But you're going to be willing to go through the dark times because you know that this is the guidepost. Because I have clarity of where I'm going to go. I have direction. I have vision. The Bible talks about if you perish for the lack of vision. You don't have a vision, the people will perish. So there's a part of you that has to get clear on where I'm going. My life GPS says this is the way. As it talks about in Star Wars, this is the way. This is the way. This is the way I'm called to go. In the manner I'm called to do it. So I can use that as opportunities to say ward off the things that are not in alignment with those particular things itself. So without that vision, I'm aimless. I can be going all over the place. You know, if I give you directions to come visit me where I'm at, I can, you know, drop you a pin. I can give you the directions. You're going to follow that GPS to get to this destination. If you don't, I just say, just find me. Like I'm Waldo or something. Just find Waldo. That's not part of it. Okay. It's getting clarity of where I need to go. Okay. Because look, this is not, it's going to be a winding road. It's not a straight highway interstate. There's going to be some twists and turns along the way. But when I know, I can always go back to center. I can go back and be grounded, 10 toes down, grounded in who I am, who he called me to be, and stay in the right lane, because it's easy to waver off the pathway. So I've got to stay focused on where it is and how he's lining me up to do it. So that's number one. Number two, fulfillment and satisfaction. So I enjoy working with guys, even in the dark stuff, when they're in the pit of despair, when anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, you know, overwhelm, self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, when these things are coming up with the guy, and I have the skill set and the understanding of how to pull them from there, to renew their mind, to help them renew their mind, help them to tell a better story, give them systems and processes to dig out of that pit. I enjoy it. It's dirty work. It's hard work when a guy like is hopeless, to go from hopelessness into hope, to go from despair into belief in something greater on the other side of this season. I can't not do that. It's fulfilling. It's satisfying to my soul. Okay, to have that skill set of bringing folks through a transformation, bringing men through a transformation, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, whatever those areas, because we're a whole person. All of those things intertwine and have to be together. So there's a part of that where I feel good. Like I said, I can't not do this. There's a part of that fills my cup, even though I'm pouring out. I don't feel empty. I don't feel like I lose anything by me helping a man go through and work through towards their purpose, to get out of that pit of despair, to actually help them design a business and a lifestyle that's surrounded going through their calling, going through their purpose. This is what I love. This is what it lights me up. For you, it might be, you know, just helping somebody work on their taxes to save money, because you know that the finances are important in this person's life. You're called to help somebody with their business as an accountant, or as a tax advisor, a financial advisor. In that pursuit and in that gift that you have, that you continue to get really great at, you're helping these folks live a better life because they're able to save their money in a right manner. So whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be, you know, just in the pulpit. It doesn't have to be those things. Whatever it is you're called to do. You know, me as a strength and fitness coach for years, I'm helping folks feel better, feel confident, live longer lives, live healthier lives, to be able to carry that mantle, that anointing, that gift that God has called them to do, to help them do that at a higher level. I love that. I'm helping remove the friction of unhealthiness and mental clarity and all the things that they don't feel good about themselves. Their self-worth is lacking. And some of that physicality changes that. It gives them that grit that's necessary, that resilience that's necessary in life. Okay. So number three is your impact and legacy. How do you want to be? So first of all, I kind of shifted my whole thought about legacy. Legacy for me for the longest was, when I die, how will I be remembered? How will I be impacting the folks once I'm gone? I want that still. I still want to have a huge funeral because of the folks that I've touched. Not because I'm Mr. Popular or anything like that, because of all the lives that I've touched on a deep level, that I've helped them at a deep level. I serve them at a deep level. And I want that to be impactful. I live my life for that. But on the same time, I look at legacy moments. One of my biggest prayers, my wife and I the same way, is divine connections and divine appointments. God, bring me divine connections, bring me divine appointments so that I may serve your people at a high level. So in that, I'm looking for those opportunities. And that could be me just going to the local grocery store and being kind to the cashier, being kind to the person that I'm walking past, being kind in a way I can give, or being kind where I can give a large tip. Any of those kind of things that I can be kind of. So that legacy moment, I may meet someone in the airport. I travel a good bit. And so when I'm traveling, I may meet someone in the airport sitting next to, and the way that I have a conversation is intentional to help them grow, to help them, if I can, introduce them to Jesus, to introduce them to a greater relationship and a depth with God. So if I'm intentional with those things, that's a legacy moment. I may not ever see that person again, but that one spark I may be able to put into their lives that can, greatly increase their life satisfaction, but also their pursuit towards godly things, kingdom things. So I'm intentional with that. Okay. And so that's part of the legacy itself. We have the potential to leave a long lasting legacy in those moments and once we leave here. So what is that? How do I want to be impactful for the kingdom of God? I want to be impactful to my family. I want to be impactful to my clients and folks that I in my church that I have great conversations with and do life with. So these are the things that really that push you. Look at right now. I just gave you a quote from Mark Twain. The man's been gone for a whole long period of time, but we're still quoting his work. We're still reading his work. We're still seeing what he does, right? We're still reading the Bible and reading about these characters that are still, we're talking about thousands of years they've been gone, but we're still talking about them. We're still having discussions about these folks because they've created a long, powerful legacy. In the movie Troy, I think about the character Achilles. He was mounting a horse. He was talking to this kid, and the kid was like, "He's so big, I would never fight him." And Achilles turns to him and says, "And that's why no one will ever remember your name." I'm like, dang, he just like, he slapped up the little kid, slapped up the little boy, but he was real. Nobody's gonna know your name. We don't celebrate people who do simple stuff. We don't celebrate people who settle for mediocre when God has called them to mastery, or God has called them to do great things and they settle for mediocre or just good enough. We don't celebrate those people. So what is it that you want to do that not because you're looking for, like I said, to be celebrated, but the fact that it's memorable, or you having memorable like conversations and encounters with people. So that's up to us to say that I'm going to pursue that. Okay. What is it that transcends years? I want stuff in my great, one of these videos. There's this guy, Patrick Bet David, that I follow on Valuetainment, and he was talking about you guys, people who say, "Oh, I don't want to create videos. I don't want to do videos. I'm just not good on camera." And he put a good spin on it. He showed a picture of his parents and his grandfather. He said, "This guy I never met. He's talking about his grandfather. I never met my grandfather. I don't know who he was. I don't know anything about him other than what I've been told from my parents." So what would it be like if I had videos of him talking about his life and sharing his experiences and things of that sort? What I'm doing right now, until Jesus come back, or however long, we're on this earth or whatever it may be, until we pull from here, my grandkids will be able to see this. They'll know who their grandfather is or was, wherever I'm going. So if you're like, I don't want to do video, I don't want to write stuff, do it. Don't do it for yourself if you don't want to do it that way. Do it for your seed. Do it for your last name. Do it for those coming behind you. Your grandkids can go back and look at this. This is going to be, unless they shut down YouTube, this is going to be here for my kids and grandkids, whatever, to know who their grandfather was. What about you? Are you putting something out there? Are you leaving something that others down the line can learn from you and understand your heart? This might be a video that my great-great-granddaughter listens to and watches like, man, I want to pursue my purpose. I still know, but I'm doing it for them as well as I'm doing it for you all watching it right now. So that's a part where you step up into your legacy. Number 4, you're going to get your resiliency and your perseverance will increase when you know and you're pursuing your purpose. Because once again, that grit, like I talked about before, that grit, that I'm willing to turn the pain that I've gone through into purpose. I know many people have done that. I know folks have gone into the medical field because they lost a loved one. They're going into, like, I want my master's degree is in sports medicine. Some folks pursue that because they had an ACL injury and they enjoyed the process of being rehabilitated back to their craft. So some people get into it. Some folks will become law enforcement officers or go into being, because they saw the injustice in their city. They wanted this. They may have had a friend gunned down, and now they want to go in there and change that trajectory for the future. So a lot of times we can turn our pain into purpose if we are and becomes more resilient. We're going to do more or be willing to do more. You know, working out is not easy. You know, you're going to do some suffering. It's going to bring some pain. You know, part of that is righteous suffering, and I'm willing to do it to have the strong, resilient body. All right, to be healthy, to be strong. All those things are worth it if you're looking into that. But you know, the Bible talks about be strong and courageous. You know, in Joshua 1:9. But in many situations, he talks about fear not, because we know fear is going to be there. God knows that we're going to be fearful, but he wants us to have faith and take the action necessary for us to pursue those particular goals and passions and callings. So you're going to be more willing to stick through the storms and weather them. You're going to have that resilience, that anti-fragility that's necessary for me to keep moving forward. I'm willing to overcome the obstacles because I understand that the obstacle is the way. I need that obstacle to bore something in me, to strengthen me for the fight. So that I become, the term anti-fragile, I become better and more resilient and more gritty as it gets more difficult, because I know it's going to come. I'm not expecting. A lot of times we unfortunately sometimes in Christendom we've sold that whole imagery in the wrong way. Come to Christ and everything's going to be easy and fun and your life is going to be easy. It don't work that way. All right, we just celebrated Good Friday and Easter. Christ endured the cross. He endured hard stuff. He endured death. Are you willing to endure that? And part of knowing your purpose also says that I'm willing to endure. I'm willing to be possibly a martyr. I'm willing to sacrifice so much for what I believe in. I'm willing to sacrifice my life. I'm willing to die for my faith. I'm willing to die for my family. I'm willing to die for my purpose. I'm willing to die for injustice. That's me. What are you willing to put your life on the line for? What are you willing to take the hard things for in order to pursue that purpose? When you know and you have clarity, you're willing to do more. You have a sense of meaning that transcends the current situation, the current pain, whatever that particular season is for you. Okay. And the fifth thing is you're going to have more authenticity and integrity. You're going to be willing to stand firm in who you are, being grounded in your purpose, being grounded in who you are set out to be, who he created you to be. If I know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that he created me with a purpose. He knows the plans I have. He says, I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, to prosper you, to not for death, but it's turmoil, or well, it's part of turmoil of being there, but to have a great life. In our church, we have it on there, the John 10:10, a life that is abundant and full. I'm going to pursue that abundant and full life in who I am, not compromising my faith, not compromising the way he created me to be. And I'm going to be in integrity, in alignment with that pursuit, in alignment with who, in the way he created me in that particular way. Okay. So alignment is big. Awareness and then alignment. Awareness of who I am in this environment, in this particular situation. And then that pursuit says, I'm going for it. I'm moving forward in it. I'm willing to do so because this is my lane. This is where I'm going to stand firm in there. Okay. So if I'm going to fear not, I mean, this is going to be a divine move to move forward. Where is it that he's calling me to be in a way that, and I'm not going to compare myself to others in their lane. I'm not going to look and see, well, that guy's doing it this way. Because many times what we do, that imposter syndrome comes from, we're comparing someone else's success at level 20 when we're at level 2. That's not even fair. That's not even fair for me to pursue in that manner. So this is my goal. This is my need, is to move forward in that area. Okay, to move forward in that way, in the way that he's created specifically for me. No one on this earth was born by your parents, going through your situation at the time that you were born, going through that fall, that concussion, that injury, that wind, that whatever it is along the line. If you look back, even in the Bible, they'll create monuments to remember what God did. They crossed the Red Sea. They built a monument. They built something to remember. And we have those things. We have those milestones that we can look back on our life, that this was a significant turning point. This was something that's significant that I didn't even realize that I I was already doing the thing that I'm called to do in some different areas, even in my childhood, even in my teenage, even my young adulthood. I was doing some of these things already. So I can look back and say, when I look at Lionheart, my company for that serves men, the lion has been there in so many different areas, and I just didn't notice it, didn't see it in profile pictures and conversations and certain imageries that when folks would. I had a friend that actually made this image for me that was a black and white, and they have the eyes. You may have seen it before. The eyes look like a lion. I didn't. I mean, it was there in so many different ways. I've always been a coach and a teacher and a mentor, even when I was a kid. I can't help to do it. Me, my dad, my sister, all are natural coaches, counselors. It's just in us. It's innate. It's part of our DNA, but it's also I take that part of the DNA and the way I was formed, and I pursue it with what I read, what I listen to, the coaches I hire, the conferences I go to, all this to work towards mastery in my particular goal. So are you doing that? So are you willing and are in hot pursuit of discovering your purpose? Discover your purpose. It's 3 moves that it takes. Discover it. And then you need to develop it in a way that with passion. Develop, so you discover it, then you develop it with passion, and then you have to deploy it to the people. You have to put it out there to the people, to the folks that you call to serve. It may be something that you do for vocation, or it could be something that you just do because, on volunteer basis. That's up to you and your calling itself. But this is where I'm pressing in for you to have confidence in your calling. Conquer your calling. Move in it and be courageous about pursuit of your purpose. And it's the biggest thing that's going to change your life. Of course, reach out if you're watching this, and there's probably some ways we can contact and get in touch with me, especially if you're a guy. Work specifically with men on this thing. But if you need help, getting out of that despair, getting out of that anxiety, moving in a way that is in alignment with who God created you to be in the manner in which he created you to be. So love you guys. God bless. Go hard. Peace.